I think a third condition for a circle of trust is that it be invitational, openly invitational. And by that I mean no one is compelled to go there. This is not something that an employer can assign employees to do, or a school district can send people to as a kind of remedial course. This is something that has to be chosen because that's the only way the soul is willing to operate. The soul is the freest part of us, and it operates under its own steam power. It doesn't take orders well. And not only do people have to come into a circle freely, but once they get there, everything that we do with them has to be offered up as invitation, as freedom of choice. When we get into a circle, for example, and we want on that first evening to give everyone a chance to introduce herself or himself, we do not say, I don't say as facilitator, let's start on our left with George and then go around the circle with self-introductions. Because as soon as I do that, I've introduced an element of coercion, that George has to go first and whoever's next to George has to go next. And that's not free, that's not freedom, that's not invitational. So we say, whoever wants to introduce themselves first, please feel free to do so. Whoever wants to go next, feel free to do so. And we'll just sit here until everyone who wants the chance to introduce themselves has done so. So we take this invitational principle very seriously in everything we do. Even self-introductions, no forced marches around the circle. We say to people, if I, as facilitator, invite a small group opportunity, you're free to join that or not, depending on what you feel you need. Maybe what you need at that point is some silent time, some journaling, a walk in the woods, a nap. Who knows? Your soul knows better than we do what you need. We really mean that you have an inner authority that exceeds ours. And what we find happening under those invitational circumstances is, I think, a couple of things. One is that people really do have a chance to hear what's arising inside of them and to take it seriously in a way that goes far beyond anything we could put into their minds or hearts. And secondly, because they're free, they invest themselves at an extraordinary level of intensity. Hardly ever does someone take that freedom to leave the room. They take it to embrace this opportunity with a new depth and vigor. We'll work for maybe an hour dialogue style with a poem. We'll then give people a half hour of silent break to do some journaling. We'll then go into small groups for people, triads, where people can talk more intimately with one another and get more airtime than you can in a large group. And then back to the large circle for a very simple process of sharing insights, which we don't discuss, we just receive into the center of the circle. So when you think about that kind of rhythmic pedagogy, you start realizing, well, everybody has some way of participating in this, and people who are not comfortable in the large circle can be comfortable in solitude or the small group. So I think when you put all this together, these elements of graceful ambiance, this slowing down, this doing more with less, this paying attention to rhythm, what you have is the group process equivalent of walking into the woods, sitting quietly at the base of a tree, breathing with the earth, and waiting for the soul to put in an appearance. And it does.